So you follow up with, or you?
Yeah,
We have plenty. Okay. So this is we're up to week 4. But first of all, how was your week of Zrizut? For those who was awesome.
And a lot of assignments done.
A lot of assignments.
I'm done with my assignment for Thursday.
It's good. Yeah, it's me also. I did a lot of stuff. Not as much into the assignment. Not about all the assignment, but in terms of all the other stuff, you know, like I can do everything. And you, Shmuel, how was your Zrizus this week?
Wow! Every morning I woke up,
Thank you.
went to the shower, and I was waiting for the work to start.
So
Instead of waking up later.
Good for you, Shmuel.
okay, you got
This
some
took me- I was
supporters.
trying to do Zrizut in Lent, but I couldn't do it. Took me like 40 minutes. I don't know.
Okay, you know, everybody is again. Everybody has different levels of Zrizut, and anyone has at different levels. And every week, every month, it adds up. Also, every week, it doesn't mean that we forget about, like, now we're going to go into Nekius. Doesn't mean we're going to forget about the previous week, right? But it means that we're going to focus more on our Nekius, and then Zrizut is now in our back burner, so to speak. Is we are we're not. It's in our hard drive, yeah, and we try to do some of it, even if we don't do everything. But we should not definitely abandon, like, it's my new week, I forget about Zrizut. That should not be like that. That's right. Okay, so what's Nekiut? It says like that. It means being clean of all sin. Okay, so what's the definition? Innocent of all sins, blamelessness, guiltless, the level of a person who has a clean and pure mind, free of any lust. When he does something, there's no bias. He weighs matters truthfully, not going to find leniencies for himself, or like, it can be self-deception. He deals with the most minute sins, putting fences. Okay, so which means that you had Zeirut, right? Zeirut is awareness, what's good, what's bad. Should I do this or should I not do that, right? And then comes Nekiut, where you go now in all the little details, but I go now straight to the root of why am I doing things? What's the source for me acting a certain way? And making sure that in every action I do, I act with complete, I'm clean. There's no hidden thoughts or hidden agendas. So what are the 4 most common sins that we do as Jews? Number 1, Lashon Hara. It's the most common. Number 2 is theft. Number 3, sexual immorality. Theft is gezel. What? Immorality is gilui. It's like anything that is not, sexual lust. And number 4 is food. Right? It's interesting. Food, like you think, like, oh, I should have this. Food. That's like a huge thing. So now, that's the 4 most common, right, to happen. But which one are the 4 most desired? Meaning that we desire inside of us that we, and we're not doing the power of the desire. So it says the number 1 is theft. You wouldn't think so. But it's
More in detail.
yeah, it's because it's smaller, so it's harder to look at. It comes in small pieces. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, he's gonna give some examples. But yes, we constantly, you know, you find something on the floor, right away you say like, oh, I want to keep it. You know, it's like an automatic thing. Fine, it's nobody, mine. a strong desire to acquire, to have. It has to do with happiness, because the whole idea is like, the more I have, the more happy I am. It's like that desire to go buy stuff all the time. Why do I have a desire to buy stuff? I don't need anything. I have everything. No, we have like a desire to acquire because we feel more powerful, more part of our ego. Okay, so number 2 is sexual immorality. Number 3 is food. And number 4 is speech. So the level of Nekius deals with all the details of the 365 laws Sase. Right, so it's mostly, it's like the root, we deal with what we're not supposed to do. That's what it focuses on. Okay, so it goes a bit in details on theft. So what's theft? Business competition, stealing time, sales tricks, interest. Okay, so you're gonna see in the video that I do during the, if you go in the Messilas Yesharim, it goes in great details. Actually, on the videos that we're gonna have for every day, you're gonna see a lot of all the details of theft and all the details of food, sexual immorality, and speech. So it's worth really listening to those videos or reading from Messilas Yesharim itself. So just to give an example, someone pays you for 1 hour, right? I'm paying you for 1 hour to cut the trees. So that hour belongs to the boss. It's not your hour anymore because he pays you for it. So what's happening is that if you just take a phone call, even if it's 1 minute, you stole 1 minute from your boss. It's not a minute. Or you stop for a cigarette, or you stop for a coffee, or you stop for whatever it is.
I feel like a criminal now.
Well, we're all criminals.
For some places, like if you bring
Hey,
it beforehand, like,
look who's here.
like, it's not necessarily.
Also,
Yeah.
there's a difference between 2-minute coffee break and 10 minutes coffee break.
A lot of jobs don't include that.
Right. So you have to be clear with the boss. Was it like, is it okay to take like a 5-minute pause or 3 minutes pause? Unless it's clear, you actually were saying that you can take, if you paid for an hour by your boss, right? And that hour belongs to the boss, and therefore, even if you make a phone call for 1 minute or take a cigarette, you're stealing from the boss time that he paid for you. So it's a type of theft. We're saying there's 4 main common sins, which is lashon hara, theft, sexual immorality, and food. Right. So that's the 4 most common sins. So it goes into details of all that. So we have to be careful. The scary part is when you learn Nekius, you realize I fell in all of those. It's so easy to make a mistake, and that's fine. We're human beings. We're not meant to be angels. Chas v'shalom. No angels. God doesn't like angels. He likes human beings, right? Let people who make mistake and stand up again and fix and everything. And make another mistake, right? I mean, we're still here after how many? 1 trillion mistake? Still here, still breathing. We were not zapped. So you kind of like us.
Just wait.
Okay, not in my house. No zapping here. The house of love. Okay, so the idea is that we have to be careful, especially in theft, because that's a thing we're naturally going to have a desire for that more than anything else. Interest, well, I'll lend you something. Yeah, no, you give me like $100. I'll give you $110. I'm not allowed to do that, even if I want to be nice. I'm not allowed. It's ribis. It's forbidden. So there's a desire to. So I have to make sure that it doesn't happen that way. Sales tricks or whatever. Anyway, so you will see in details. Number 2, sexual immorality, touching, embracing, gazing, thoughts. So those are kind of obvious, no need to explain. But those are typical desires, and we have to protect ourselves from it.
What is gazing?
Gazing is histakel, is like staklut, right? Staklut. So you're staring, like staring. So the problem is not if you walk in the street, okay, you're gonna see people. You should not stare. Continue your way. The problem is when you stop and you stare. You have a thought. Everybody has thoughts, but what do you do with these thoughts? You let it go. You send it back to heaven. It says in the Baal Shem Tov that Hashem sends thoughts of immorality on purpose to challenge you, see what you're going to do with it. Doesn't mean you're bad. Some people they say on Yom Kippur, I have the worst thought on Yom Kippur. As the Gemara says that. It's the Satan trying to make you feel bad so that you're not you're not holy. And because of that, the guy say, I'll never be holy. No, it's challenging you on Yom Kippur and the worst thought. They say, what do you do with it? No, thank you, I'm not interested. You send it back to God. The danger, you start sinning when you keep it. It's just there, like any other sin that we have in mind, but especially with those. Okay, number 3, food. So food, number 1 is forbidden food or mixtures. Number 2 is bishurakum. Number 3, wine, and 4, fear, almond, and cereal. So all different ways where we're gonna do. So it doesn't have necessarily to do with eating. Yes, eating that you're hungry, you want to eat, but also the way we.
Is it a problem with wine if a cleaning lady comes into your house when you're not there, and then you have
the wine?
Not all wine.
It's open.
Yeah.
Is it mebushal?
No.
Did she move it?
I don't know. Because a lot of people have cleaning ladies and they have open bottles of wine. So what do they do?
Not bottle. If you have someone serving at the restaurant and the wine is not mebushal, you
He never touches the wine.
How you touch the wine? No. I mean about the bottles.
What's the problem with the wine? The wine that he poured already, or the wine
Every
that's in the
bottle.
bottle?
It's not Michelin, but it's
Why?
So that's why you have
when you go to the office, it's good.
So that's why it has to be mebushal.
No, but it's closed. It's closed.
If it's
You have
closed,
to
once
pour
it's
it.
open, it's like maybe they put something in. I mean that's the
Maybe
idea.
they
It's
poured
a
it,
few.
anything.
Right, it can be different things. So, but the main idea is that now we're not going to go into the reason for all those things. But the idea is that all those things are things that enable us to stay clean. Just the example of the wine, what was the idea? The idea in the past was in order to keep social distancing. Well, before Corona, we had social distancing between Jews and non-Jews by not drinking wine together. That's why, because you start drinking wine and you know what happens after.
Is it like also for people that aren't religious? Like if someone's not religious, they can't pour wine?
Yes. There's also that challenge.
You're supposed to distance from them too.
To a certain degree.
Only touch the wine.
Only meaning.
Whiskey's good though.
Well, yeah, technically whiskey, yeah. But today, obviously, if you.
But there's no Avodah these days. Like, even if like.
Right. It was.
A Jew poured into his
It was
cup,
not just. It's not just of Avodah. Yeah, there's the concept of Inyan Neser, but also literally social distancing, because you start drinking together, you end up in the bed together. So if you wanna be together with people that you have the same.
But if it's a guy, then I'm not.
No, that's not good. Oh, yeah, with a guy.
If someone is not religious, what do you want?
What? Huh?
If someone is not religious, what do you want?
If it's not mebushal, it's a problem technically. You should ask your local Orthodox rabbi.
What?
Ask your local Orthodox rabbi.
That's what I just said.
Again, every case is different, but yeah, in general, yes, you can. Okay, number 4, speech. One is verbal oppression. Number 2, misleading advices, lashon hara, hate, revenge, insult, mocking, bearing a grudge, because against the oath, lying, truth with lies, Chilul Hashem.
What's oath?
What?
What's oath?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. Shabbat, Yom Tov, Shus. So all those things are different things that we naturally come to say, and that's gonna create dirty type of speech or negative speech.
So the Nekius in Messilas Yesharim, that's why he brings those four things when you speak about Nekius?
Yeah, that's what Hashem.
No, that's what I'm saying. He brings those four things to how to work on Nekius, to work on those four.
Yeah, he said that those are the four, so you have to work on everything, but those are the four most common things that you're going to do, and therefore he focuses on those four mostly. I mean, he's going to go on others now, but here that's the most prevalent, and therefore one has to be the most careful in those four. And yeah, and then he goes now in Nekius in Midos, so meaning the cleanliness in the. So the other one, the one we saw before, is more like external ones. Yeah, more in the body, so to speak, more prone to do on the outside. And here it goes into Nekius Midos. So the most common are honor is the one that attacks men's hearts the most. So they're kind of all connected because this all has to do with Gaiva and Kaz, but it's Kinat, Taiva, and Kavod. So it says like that. Number one, pride, arrogance. So Gaiva, he gives 6 types of pride and 3 types of false humility. Again, you will see in the videos what they are, but they, when you realize, when you read it and you realize what each one are, you start realizing the, how easy it is to fall in one of them. Okay, number 2, anger, kas, 4 levels of anger. 3, jealousy, envy, the skina, 2 types of envy. Then lust, tavot, which is commonly what we said before, but there's 2 types for wealth and honor. Here it's not taiva for sexual immorality, it's taiva for wealth and honor. And number 5, honor, which is kavod. Okay, so those are things that are the most common reason why we are going to do something. And we need to make sure that we don't do things out of pride, arrogance, anger, jealousy, envy, lust, and for the sake of honor. Now, the hardest area to work on for these desires is the machshava, not the action. So, especially for those, right, he says it's what's inside of you, like it's the thought of it, because everything starts here. If you think properly, what makes me angry, right? I get angry because I don't accept what's happening in front of me. In my mind, what's happening in front of me should not happen, and therefore I refuse to say that this is God, made by God, this hashgacha pratis, and therefore I get angry. This is not what I want. So it's all starting in the head. If I accept that everything that happened in front of me is from Hashem, right, gamzu l'tova, so to speak, then there's no room to get angry in the first place. It's a very, very, very high level, okay? But this is an example of why it starts with the mind. Same thing with the type of somewhere, like you see someone with a bigger house. So why it is that you have a type of a bigger house?
That's kina.
It could be kina, or type for wealth or honor. Because you have the big house, people are going to say, oh, oops. Right now, people look at me like.
I feel like it's divided into 3 different stages in life. When someone's younger, like kids are always jealous, right? And then when they get older in the teenage, it's more taiva, and then the older people, I don't need kavod, I don't need honor, I don't care about that. But then older people want the honor more than the taiva and the kina. Yeah, I mean, definitely change with age, like different stages.
They don't disappear. It's just more dominant.
No, older person is usually He has less taiva, less kina.
It
He has
still
more.
exists. It doesn't disappear. It's just
That's what it's saying.
down.
Most artists think it's in the mind. Think about it. Okay, you won't do the action.
I'll let you know. It'll be 60.
Let us know. Let us know. Hopefully, by that time, you won't have any. You'll be clean. You know. How to acquire Nekius? Okay, by constantly learning one, halacha, and two, musar. This way, he will know well all the details. So, if you know how to act in every situation, you know what halacha is, okay, then it becomes easier to stay clean. You know, I am working for 1 hour. This is my boss time. I cannot take anything unless I ask for permission. Am I allowed to? We know those famous. I think the Ramchal quotes that he says, even the workers, they have to say it's time to say Shema. They are not allowed to go down the tree, and they only say the first verse of the Shema, and the Yod say the mitzvah of saying Shema, because they're under their workers' time. Therefore, they're not allowed to say more. So Hashem gives away his mitzvah of saying all Shema for the sake of the boss. That's how important it is. So, and then Musar, it's obvious by really constantly remind ourselves how to behave in the proper way and to be a good person. Okay, 3 things prevent us from acquiring it. Number 1, well, 4 things. Worldly preoccupation and care. The more you're busy with this world, the more you're gonna.
It's for everything you think, you know?
Well, yeah, it's for a lot of, I guess, the majority of things, but he puts
It's
it.
like a themselves, I feel like. Applicable for all of them. Like all
Yeah.
different stages.
Yes, in fact, as you go through the whole thing, you're going to see constantly a lot of it is go learn more Torah, go learn more Musar, go learn the story of the rabbi. So, right. But constantly the desire to reinforce yourself and to learn things that focus on improving your character. Basically, what's happening is that people spend a lot of time learning Torah. But how much time do you spend on learning on how to be a better person? Most people don't spend the majority of time on that. And he's not even asking that you spend the majority of time. He says, spend more time on that than usual. Because people spend 5-10 minutes learning Musar and they learn 8 hours of Gemara, or 10 hours of Chumash. When you spend 10 minutes in Musar, it's not going to change you. Learning Gemara and learning Chumash and learning whatever is not going to change you. What's changed you is knowing what you're supposed to do to be a good and better person, a holy person, right? Now, there are people who are able to teach a pasuk or a Gemara or a Midrash and show you how to become a better person from that. But not everybody is able to do that.
Isn't that why we have a Torah? Like, we're supposed to learn from Torah and Torah?
Yes, but how many rabbis teach it like that? Not too many. But when we learn there and there, it depends. But that's the ideal.
Right, but ultimately, he also keeps on referring back to learning.
Yes.
So it's not the amount. It's what are you trying to find in the Torah?
Yes. The direction to which you're using the Torah for, which is, we're going to see Lishma, in order to come close to God. That should be the ultimate goal. Okay, so that's number 1. The more you're busy with life, with care, like, do you remember what you're here for? You're busy with work, you're busy with vacation, with whatever. You're here to come close to God. Don't get too distracted with the world. The reason you go to vacation, the reason you go to work, the reason you relax, the reason you eat, the reason you do anything is to come close to God. Don't get too distracted that your mind is only focused on the outside world, because you're going to lose focus. Number 2, laughing, joking, mocking attitude. If you are someone who is very everything is a joke, then you're going to lose sincerity and Yas Hashem, and you lose, there are people who always make jokes of everything. Hey, do mitzvah, no mitzvah, you do this, like, who cares? You think God cares? So everything becomes cheap and not important, and it's a joke. So therefore, you won't be take seriously, working on yourself, coming close to God. Number 3, bad friends. Bad danger of bad friends, we become like sinners by trying to fit in. That's social pressure. If you're with people who are affecting you negatively,
Who decides who's bad? Like, you think he's bad, he thinks you're bad.
no. Here we're talking about from your perspective. You know that when you hang out with these people, you don't end up, you always speak about other people. You end up like, okay, burger, cheeseburger, no, okay, nicht gefällt. You find ways to. So it's a bad influence. If you were not with them, you wouldn't act like that, right? So it's challenging. It's challenging. We have good company friends. There are people who inspire you to be better. It's like they say, come Shabbat, so it depends. It depends who you hang out. You have to choose your friend. Friends is a very big influence. We all know that. There's 2 things that can happen, right? You are the influence, or you are influenced. Which one do you choose? So to be influenced, you have to be strong, right? But if you are influenced, then you have to make sure you're with the right crowd. Okay, number 4 is lack of thorough knowledge. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Lack of thorough knowledge of the laws and ethical teachings. Okay, so that goes together again with halakha and musar. Okay, so what are the solutions for it? With those problems, minimize work, learn more. Again, right? I think he said it also last week or 2 weeks ago. You're not created to work, right? You're not created to pay bills. You're not created to make money. You're created to come close to Hashem. Now, I don't know. You ask me.
Because I need money to work. That should be able to serve God. Okay,
so then you're working to serve. Okay, yeah, but you're not creating for work. You're creating to come close to Hashem. But the question is, are you working extra, spending time just making more money in order to buy that nice villa in Miami?
No,
or
in order to go to a road trip, I should be able to serve God.
Oh, okay. So that's all about Nekius. You got to find your clear things. Is okay, I'm doing this because my road trip is going to enable me to come close to Hashem, to see the world, to be inspired, to inspire other people, whatever it is. But you have to be clean. You got to know that's why you do it. Right?
What if your work?
Sorry?
What if your work is
So that's the ideal condition. Some work enables you to do that. Some work is to get the money to come close to Hashem, right? So I have enough money to stay home, to meditate, to go into the forest and just like speak to the trees, or
Just take shrooms.
take shrooms. Well, yeah, but you can do without it. So you have to be honest with yourself and know why you're doing it. But you can also have a job where it's a job that makes you feel fulfilled, and you're able to inspire other people and bring people closer to God and bring yourself closer to God. So some work requires a lot of ethics, makes you a better person. Plus, there's a huge thing of going outside India in the world and becoming a Kiddush Hashem. That's one of the greatest mitzvah. Like he's going to say at the end, you can be as great as a Rosh Yeshiva or a Rebbetzin or whatever, someone holy, by going to work in Times Square and being a businessman and all that, than being a Rosh Yeshiva in Yerushalayim, because you're being a role model, you're being a Kiddush Hashem, which is the greatest mitzvah.
What if I had 2 jobs in comparison? Let's say one job brings me much closer to Hashem, and the other job I would make much more money. And
So how making more money will help you get close to Hashem?
well, I would use it in the same way. I won't use the money in a different way. The money doesn't have any value to the work.
Well, whatever, sometimes with more money, you can do greater project, you can influence more people. So you have to see which one is gonna be the most, and that's how we make every choice. We make the pros and the cons. With more money, I can do this, but I might be more tempted to do this. Does it make more sense to keep the job with more money or to the other job, right? It's very dangerous. It's very easy to end up, the way we look our day, right? And just not you, me. I wake up and say, okay, I have to work today, right? I have to make money. No, that's technically already wrong. Because I wake up and say, okay, today I have to come close to Hashem. Okay, so what I need to do? Okay, work a little bit on Musar, on my Midos, learn some Torah. How much can I learn? And then say, okay, I have some hours left. I need to make a living. I need to also, pay for the bills. What's the minimum I need? And do the job.
It's harder to work on getting closer to Hashem when you have on your head like pressure that I need to pay bills. I don't have enough money. So therefore you kind of put it in the side and then you start working more because you want to not worry about it.
Absolutely.
That's why God brought you Corona, that you get unemployment.
Maybe, but yeah, you're right. It's a challenge. We're pressed with our bitachon. We're challenged with really, because God technically, and he speaks about it at some point in bitachon, God is going to give you technically the same amount of money, whether you work a lot or a little. It all depends on how much you trust that everything comes from him and that you do your ishtalut properly. So it's not really how much do I really need to do to get that same amount of money. It all depends also on our level. Some people have to do more ishtalut, some less, depending on our madrega. But technically, if we have real trust in Hashem, we're not worried. We don't feel as much the pressure. I'm not saying I'm not there yet, but it's a very hard thing. I think we all struggle with that. It's not easy. But we want to be able to live a life where I don't feel stressed all day paying the bill. It's very hard. It's very much easier when you have enough money to just
marry rich girl.
Okay, that's one way to go about it. Okay, so minimize work and learn more. Designate a time for Torah and Cheshbon. Okay, this one is actually very important. I mean, we spoke about it, I think, a little bit for Zizut and Zirut, is to actually, okay, I have a time set for Torah and time set for reflecting on how am I growing and what's happening. Number 3 is free time. Go learn more Torah, especially Musa and Halacha. What do you do during your free time? Okay, so we have to think of how can I become a better person with free time. Also, quickly the tools. So the tools basically is to read the whole chapter of Nekius. If you listen to the video, you will hear the whole chapter of Nekius. I go through it quickly. It's really worth it because it's like very go into details and you realize how many things we do wrong. Because it's everyday little things from everyday life. It's Nekius, again, it's like all the minute small thing. Number 2 is spend at least 5 minutes of halachos, of learning halachos for each of these 5 categories: business, women and men, where it goes together, food, speech, and kavod. So I put on the chat, I put a different place that speaks about, you can learn like small halachos for 5 minutes of each one of them. Again, you don't have to do all 5 every day, but during the week, find a time to read a little bit about business ethics, like about how to eat, the laws of, because there's a lot of laws of trev, kosher, bishul akum, kavod, when you stand up. If it's a guy, if it's a non-Jew that is 90 years old, you're supposed to stand up, right? How many of those things do we actually keep? There's a lot of details and we're not constantly aware of all those things. So the more you're aware, of the little things, the laws, the more you will come to do it. Number 3, another tool is make a list of the sin you do most often in order, and the ones that are the hardest for you, that you usually desire the most in order. Okay, so that's the same thing, the same way he lists the things. See if it's the same order, but be clear about the ones. What? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's the ones that you personally know are the hardest for you, right? The same way Nekius brings you clarity to what are the most common type of sin, but we're all different. So we'll have different orders. See if it parallels the same as Nekius. And because wherever you're gonna have the most, that's where you're gonna have to have the most clarity and learn the laws in more and more details than others. Sometimes you have a sin that even if it's a small thing, you keep doing it, and that makes you fall down, and it prevents you from working on all the others, right? Someone who cannot wake up on time, so it's just like he says, day after day, and because he doesn't that, he doesn't go to work, he doesn't that. If you will wake up on time and wake up to do some zlisut in the morning, then all the rest can be worked on. But because at that one midah, it destroys his whole day and all the other character traits. You're lazy, you push to not do anything, and so the problem. Listen every day to the other videos of this week, ideally. And number 5, especially this week more than the other week, but this week. Number 5, make a little prayer every day. So that's a prayer that I do. Again, this is my own personal prayer, but I always encourage people to write their own prayer. Learn to make your own prayer. We all have to write our own book of Tehillim. David Ameller didn't. Well, yeah, me too. I have like 7, 8, 9. But you have to. We are supposed to train. David Ameller didn't do a book of Tehillim just to repeat what he said. Well, one is to learn, and it has some power, but also to learn to sing your entire life. Your life is supposed to be a song. Any question? Subject. So, guys, one thing I forgot to correct in the thing. On the week of, I will correct it when I put it on the chat. On the Nekius, I listed 4 things, but really did 6 things. Chilul Hashem is not part of speech, and number 10 is also, so it's Chilul Hashem is number 5, and Shabbos Yom Tov Shavuos is number 6. Okay, yeah, because it was not so clear, and I corrected.
I find it hard to watch a video. I can't sit and watch a video. It's like,
okay, can you, while you walk, you can listen to it while you walk, or it's because they're too long, or
I
because
try,
it's
I get
more
distracted. I can't even like watch a movie. I have no patience.
Oh, yeah, no. So
I can't sit on a phone and learn.
There you go.
There you go, driving.
Oh, right. Sometimes driving is easier. I mean, you can listen to my beautiful voice, it's very. Or you can.
So then I got a sexual morality.
You learn about French accents, very good. Or you can do also. Sometimes if you take the book in the same time and read it with me, at least this week. The other weeks I don't necessarily read always from the book.
It's so hard though when you read. Like, if you say it without reading from it, it's much easier.
It's easier. It is easier. I know. But that part of Nekius was so detailed that I had to read it, and I read it pretty quickly also, because otherwise it's too long. But even if you don't watch the video, you can go for 5 minutes on the links that I put there, the different links, or put like one show on business and halakha, one show on the Shomer Nigia, one shiur on treif or bishul akum or wine, whatever, or kibud avim.
Posted all these
Kibud
links
ribo.
on the group.
What?
You post all these links on the group.
Yeah. Let's put that so we can go directly to that. Okay.
Yashar koach.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for sticking, for still being part of changing the world. We need you.
That's our goal.
That's our goal. And we shall do. Thank you everyone for listening, and hopefully we'll see you next week without Corona. And yeah, Yerushalayim Amnuya. Amen. Oh yeah.
Even in Yesharim,
Welcome.
yeah.
And we are where? Where's the Tisha B'Av? Hopefully, yeah, this happens Yom Tov.